Chapter 1. Orbit 14. This is Genesis, humanity's first interstellar starship. For 18 days, she has circled the Earth. Her crew is prepared for a journey unlike any before it. Every system has been tested, every procedure rehearsed, every calculation checked in, checked again. Tomorrow, Genesis will leave Earth behind, not for the moon, not for Mars, but for the vast darkness between the stars. Tonight, she completes one final orbit around the world that built her. That hatch opens with its familiar hiss. The observation deck is quiet. Most of the light comes from the Earth itself, while the displays have already dimmed for the night watch, leaving the bridge illuminated by instrument panels and the soft blue glow beyond the window. The navigation officer you're relieving looks up from the console and offers a quiet smile. Everything has been uneventful, he says. Guidance has been stable all evening, and orbital sunrise is right on schedule. There is no formal ceremony, no dramatic handover, only the quiet routine that is repeated every night since Genesis entered orbit. He slides the tablet across the console. You review the report carefully. Every system has performed exactly as expected. There have been no anomalies, no unexpected traffic, and no corrections required throughout the watch. Exactly what every navigator hopes to see. You acknowledge the handover and sign the watch log. With that simple action, the bridge is now yours. For a moment, you simply stand beside the forward observation window. Earth fills nearly half the sky. Clouds drift silently across continents, while distant city lights shimmer beneath a remarkably thin atmosphere. Along the horizon, a delicate ribbon of blue separates the world below from the endless darkness beyond. For the past 18 days, this has been home. Tomorrow, it will already be growing smaller behind you. Genesis was never designed to remain here. Every corridor, every system, every kilogram aboard the ship exists for a single purpose: to carry humanity farther than it has ever traveled before. The bridge feels unlike any spacecraft that came before it. Curved displays wrap gently around the command deck. Soft white lighting reflects from brushed metal surfaces. Everything has been designed to feel calm, deliberate, and quietly confident. Someone once described Genesis as less like a spacecraft and more like a cathedral built for exploration. Standing here now, it's difficult to disagree. You settle into the navigation chair. The seat adjusts automatically as familiar displays awaken across the console. Within seconds, the navigation solution has been verified once again. The spacecraft remains perfectly on course, its attitude is stable, and every guidance system continues performing exactly as planned. A reassuring sea of green indicators fills the display. Nothing calls for your attention. Nothing demands correction. For a navigator, there are few sights more satisfying. A gentle vibration passes almost unnoticed through the hull. The reaction control thrusters have completed another routine adjustment, quietly keeping Genesis perfectly aligned as she circles the Earth. Even now, the ship is traveling at nearly 28,000 kilometers per hour, yet inside the bridge, everything feels perfectly still. Speed has a curious way of disappearing in orbit. You never feel the motion itself, only the confidence that comes from knowing every calculation is exactly where it should be. You look back toward the window. Somewhere beneath those clouds, families are finishing dinner. Children are already asleep. Night shift workers are beginning another ordinary evening. millions of lives continue below, completely unaware that tomorrow humanity will begin its first journey beyond Earth. For a long moment, you simply watch the planet turn beneath you. No alarms interrupt the silence, no conversations disturb the bridge, only the quiet hum of Genesis, keeping faithful watch above the world. Chapter 2, Orbital Sunrise. Orbital sunrise is 12 minutes away. The timer in the corner of the navigation display continues its silent countdown. You don't need the reminder. After nearly 3 weeks aboard Genesis, the rhythm of orbit has become as familiar as breathing. Every 90 minutes, the starship circles the Earth. Every 90 minutes, another sunrise waits beyond the horizon. The bridge remains almost perfectly still. Behind you, the ship quietly continues its nightly routine. Air moves gently through the living quarters. Cooling systems carry heat away from the electronics hidden behind the walls. Somewhere below the bridge, engineers watch the same calm stream of green status indicators that has become the heartbeat of Genesis. Most of the crew will sleep through the sunrise. The night watch rarely does. It is one of the quiet privileges that comes with standing watch, while the rest of the ship sleeps. You dim the observation lights, and the reflections slowly disappear from the forward window until only the stars remain. Without an atmosphere to blur their light, they appear perfectly steady, sharp, timeless, almost close enough to touch. The countdown reaches 30 seconds. Earth remains wrapped in darkness, but a thin blue line begins to appear along the distant horizon. It is the first quiet promise that morning is about to arrive. Then it happens. Sunlight doesn't slowly spread across the sky the way it does from the ground. It arrives almost all at once. Within moments, darkness gives way to brilliant daylight. The atmosphere glows electric blue. Clouds ignite in brilliant white. The oceans catch the first light of morning. An entire hemisphere awakens beneath you. The display beside the window updates almost unnoticed. The solar arrays have begun tracking the sun automatically, turning with slow precision until every panel is perfectly aligned. By the time the light reaches Genesis, the ship is already prepared to receive it. That simple movement says something about the people who built this spacecraft. The best engineering rarely reacts to problems. It quietly prepares for them long before they arrive. Power begins flowing steadily into the batteries. Generation climbs exactly as predicted. Nothing unexpected happens. For a spacecraft, that is often the best possible outcome. You enter a brief note into the navigation log. Orbit 15. Orbital sunrise observed. Navigation systems continue to perform normally. The report is short. It doesn't need to be anything more. Mission logs are not written to capture emotion. They exist to leave an accurate record for the crew that follows. A quiet notification appears across the display. The departure briefing will begin in 1 hour. The peaceful part of the shift is drawing to a close. Soon the crew will gather for one final review. Soon every department will report ready. And soon, Genesis will leave the only world humanity has ever called home. You take one last look through the observation window. The sunlight now stretches across nearly half the planet. Clouds cast enormous shadows across the oceans far below. Everything appears peaceful, almost impossibly so. Then you return your attention to the navigation console. The next chapter of humanity's journey is about to begin. Chapter 3. Final Preparations. The bridge begins to change. One by one, the empty stations begin to fill. The quiet solitude of the night watch gives way to the steady rhythm of the morning shift. There is no urgency, only preparation. Each officer arrives a few minutes early. Some carry steaming mugs of coffee. Others quietly review digital checklists as they walk. Soft greetings are exchanged. Nothing more. Everyone knows exactly why they're here. Humanity's first journey beyond Earth has been years in the making. This morning is simply the final step. You remain at the navigation console. The overnight reports are already waiting. You read through them carefully. Everything is exactly where it should be. The spacecraft remains perfectly on course. Its attitude is stable. Navigation accuracy is well within mission limits. Every system reports nominal performance. You transfer the report into the central mission log. A soft confirmation tone answers. Nothing else requires your attention. Across the bridge, engineering completes its own review. Fuel reserves exceed departure requirements. Electrical systems continue operating normally. Life support remains stable. Every reading tells the same reassuring story. Genesis is ready. Far below the bridge, powerful pumps continue circulating water through the ship. Fresh air moves quietly through hidden vents. Carbon dioxide is removed. Oxygen is replenished. Temperature never changes by more than a fraction of a degree. Most of the crew never thinks about these systems. Perhaps that's the greatest compliment an engineer can receive. When everything works, nobody notices. The bridge lights brighten slightly. Night watch has officially ended. Outside the forward window, Earth continues its slow rotation beneath Genesis. Clouds drift across oceans. Morning sunlight spreads over distant coastlines. Somewhere below, millions of people are beginning another ordinary day. Most have no idea that, high above them, history is quietly preparing to unfold. A gentle chime sounds overhead. All department heads, please report to briefing room 1. No one rushes. There is still time. Checklists come first. They always do. You perform one final navigation verification. The onboard computers compare thousands of stars against their internal catalog. The process takes only a few seconds. The result appears. Navigation solution confirmed. Position accuracy remains well within mission tolerance. There's nothing to correct. You allow yourself a small smile, not because something extraordinary has happened, but because nothing has. On a mission like this, routine is exactly what success looks like. The captain steps onto the bridge. Conversation fades naturally, not from fear, from respect. He studies each station in silence. His eyes move slowly around the room. Every officer meets his gaze. Every station is ready. He gives a single nod. Excellent work. Let's make history. One by one, the officers leave for the final briefing. You remain for just another moment, looking once more at the navigation display. Everything is ready. Soon, Earth will become home behind you, not ahead. Chapter 4. Departure. The bridge feels different now. Not because anything has changed, but because everyone knows what comes next. The final briefing has ended. Every department has reported ready. Every checklist has been completed. There's nothing left to prepare. The crew returns quietly to their stations. No one rushes. There's no excitement. Only calm professionalism. Years of training have led to this moment. You settle once again into the navigation chair. The display awakens as your hand rests against the console. Today's departure trajectory appears before you, a graceful arc extending away from Earth. You study it for a moment, not because you doubt it, but because after today, every kilometer along that line will carry humanity farther from home than ever before. A soft chime echoes across the bridge. The captain's voice follows. All stations, report ready for departure. Engineering answers first. Engineering is ready. Life support follows. Life support is ready. Communications? Communications is ready. One by one, every station reports the same quiet confidence. Your turn arrives. You glance once more across the navigation display. The trajectory remains locked. Guidance systems are tracking perfectly. Every calculation has already been verified. You press the transmit switch. Navigation is ready. Silence settles across the bridge. Not an uncomfortable silence, an expectant one. Outside the forward window, Earth drifts silently beneath Genesis. Clouds cast long shadows across the oceans. The curve of the atmosphere glows softly against the darkness beyond. It is a view that every astronaut knows, a view that somehow never becomes ordinary. The captain stands. He looks slowly around the bridge, meeting the eyes of every officer. No speech has been prepared. None is needed. When history remembers today, he says quietly, it will remember humanity. Not this ship, not these uniforms, not our names. It will remember that we chose to keep exploring. No one answers. There's nothing to add. The flight clock reaches 0. Deep within Genesis, the engines awaken, not with violence, not with a roar, only with a low vibration that slowly grows beneath your feet. The displays remain perfectly steady. Every number changes exactly as expected. The spacecraft begins following the trajectory that has existed only in simulations until now. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, Genesis begins to leave Earth. There's no dramatic lurch, no sudden acceleration, only the quiet realization that home is becoming smaller, second by second, kilometer by kilometer. You continue watching the navigation display. Every correction is exactly where it should be. Every system responds precisely as it was designed to. The spacecraft seems almost effortless in its confidence. Outside, the blue horizon slowly begins to shrink. For the first time in history, a crewed spacecraft is no longer traveling around the Earth. It is traveling away from it. No one speaks. There's only the quiet hum of Genesis, carrying humanity into the unknown. Chapter 5. Leaving home. The departure burn continues exactly as planned. Inside the bridge, there is almost nothing to hear, only the quiet vibration of the engines beneath your feet and the gentle hum of life support surrounding the crew. Everything else remains perfectly still. The navigation display updates continuously as Genesis gains distance from Earth. Each calculation confirms the same reassuring message. The spacecraft remains precisely on its planned course. You find yourself looking away from the console more often now, not because the instruments need less attention, but because the view beyond the window has begun to change. Earth no longer dominates the sky. Instead, it hangs quietly against the darkness, still unmistakably home, yet already beginning to feel distant. The brilliant blue atmosphere that surrounded the planet only an hour ago has become a delicate ring of light. From here, It almost seems impossible that every mountain, every city, every ocean, and every person exist beneath something so fragile. You understand why so many astronauts struggle to describe this moment. It isn't sadness, it isn't excitement. It's something quieter, a growing awareness of just how small home truly is. A soft tone draws your attention back to the console. The guidance computer has completed another trajectory update. No corrections are required. The engines continue exactly as expected. You acknowledge the report with a single touch. There is nothing else to do. Sometimes the most successful moments in spaceflight are the least dramatic. Across the bridge, the crew settles into a comfortable silence. There are no unnecessary conversations. Everyone understands that this is one of those rare moments worth experiencing without words. Outside, the moon slowly comes into view. At first, it appears no different than it does from Earth, a familiar companion hanging against the stars. Then perspective begins to shift, almost too slowly to notice. Its position changes against the background of space. For the first time in your life, you're traveling toward it, not simply watching it rise above the horizon. You remember standing outside as a child, staring up at the moon and wondering what it might feel like to leave Earth behind. Back then, it seemed unimaginably far away. Tonight, it feels like the first milestone on a much longer journey. The captain quietly leaves his chair and walks toward the observation window. No announcement, no speech. He simply stands beside the glass. One by one, others do the same. For several minutes, the bridge becomes completely silent. No one needs to be reminded that history is unfolding around them. Each member of the crew carries that understanding in their own way. You remain at your station, watching the numbers, watching the stars, watching the Earth slowly become smaller with every passing minute. Some journeys begin with a single step, others begin with a single launch, but this one begins with the quiet realization that there is no turning back. Genesis continues onward, leaving behind the world that built her and carrying humanity toward whatever waits beyond the darkness. Chapter 6. The quiet between worlds. The departure burn is over. For the first time since leaving Earth, Genesis settles into silence. The engines rest. The vibration beneath your feet fades almost completely, leaving only the familiar hum of the ship itself. It is a sound every member of the crew has come to know. Quiet, steady, reassuring. The navigation display updates one final time before the guidance computer settles into its crew solution. Every calculation agrees. The spacecraft is exactly where it should be, exactly when it should be there. There is something strangely comforting about watching thousands of independent systems reach the same conclusion, without celebration, without hesitation, simply quiet certainty. Outside the forward window, Earth continues to drift farther away. It is still beautiful, still unmistakably blue, but distance changes the way you see familiar things. The continents have begun to lose their detail. The weather systems that once filled half the window now resemble delicate brushstrokes across a small globe. You wonder when Earth will stop feeling like a place and begin feeling like a destination. A soft notification appears across the navigation display. The guidance computer recommends a routine star alignment. No correction is required, only confirmation. You begin the procedure. Tiny cameras mounted along the hull turn toward the stars. One by one, The onboard computer compares each pattern against a catalog containing thousands of familiar points of light. Within moments, the solution is complete. The computer confirms what you already expected. Genesis has not drifted even a fraction beyond its planned course. It is remarkable, you think, that something as ancient as the stars can still guide humanity through the darkness, long before satellites, long before computers. Sailors looked upward for the very same reason. The tools have changed, the destination has changed, but the sky remains familiar. The bridge is quieter than it has been since launch. Most conversations have given way to quiet observation. Some members of the crew review reports. Others simply watch the stars. No one seems eager to disturb the stillness. A cup of coffee floats gently from one side of the bridge to the other. One of the engineers catches it with an effortless motion before it can reach the ceiling. A few quiet smiles appear. Nothing is said. The moment passes, almost unnoticed. Life aboard Genesis is already beginning to settle into routine. The extraordinary slowly becomes ordinary. Even history eventually gives way to habit. You glance once more toward Earth. The distance is growing, slowly, patiently, almost too gradually to notice. Then you turn back toward the stars. Not because Earth has become less important, but because everything waiting ahead deserves your attention now. For the first time since departure, the journey itself has truly begun. Chapter 7. The Deep Silence. Several hours have passed since departure. Time aboard Genesis has already begun to change, without sunrises and sunsets to divide the day. The passing of time feels quieter, less noticeable, measured only by the routines of the crew and the steady rhythm of the ship. Your shift continues at the navigation console. There is remarkably little to do. Every system remains healthy. Every course calculation agrees with the last. The guidance computer quietly confirms that Genesis is following its planned trajectory with extraordinary precision. For a navigator, there is a certain satisfaction in seeing nothing unexpected. Successful spaceflight is often beautifully uneventful. You lean back for a moment and allow your eyes to wander beyond the bridge. The corridors remain softly lit. The ventilation system whispers almost silently through hidden ducts. Somewhere deeper inside the ship, someone laughs, only briefly. Then the quiet returns. It occurs to you that the silence of space is often misunderstood. Outside, there's no sound at all. No wind, no engines, no distant echoes. Only complete and perfect silence. Everything you hear exists because Genesis creates it. The gentle circulation of air, the quiet hum of electrical systems, the faint vibration of pumps carrying water through the ship. Without them, the silence would be absolute. The realization is strangely comforting. Every sound reminds you that the ship is alive, that every system continues doing exactly what it was designed to do. Another notification appears across the navigation display. A routine communication window with Earth has opened. The transmission leaves Genesis at the speed of light. For now, the delay is almost impossible to notice. The reply returns only moments later. Voices still feel close. Home still feels nearby. That won't always be true. As Genesis travels farther from Earth, every conversation will take a little longer. Minutes will eventually replace seconds. Patience will become part of every exchange. The thought doesn't feel lonely, only different. Distance has always changed the way people communicate, whether separated by oceans or by space. You stand and slowly walk toward the observation window. The stars appear almost unchanged. Countless points of light scattered across every direction. Yet somehow, they feel deeper now, as though the darkness itself has become larger. Perhaps nothing has changed at all. Perhaps only your perspective has. A movement catches your attention, not outside, inside the glass, your own reflection. For just a moment, the stars seem to surround you. You smile quietly. The universe has not become smaller. You have simply become part of it. Behind you, Genesis continues its patient journey. Steady, silent, unhurried. Ahead, only stars, and the promise of places no human eyes have ever seen. For tonight, that is more than enough. Chapter 8. A New Horizon. Your watch is nearly over. The bridge remains as calm as it was when your shift began. Displays glow softly in the dim light, while the familiar hum of Genesis fills the quiet around you. Nothing has demanded your attention. Nothing's gone wrong. It has been exactly the kind of shift every navigator hopes for. Genesis continues steadily along the course, planned months before launch. Every system continues to perform exactly as expected, and the navigation solution remains perfectly stable. There is something deeply reassuring about watching an entire spacecraft operate with such quiet confidence. You take one final look across the navigation display before standing. Another officer will soon take your place. Life aboard Genesis moves in a continuous rhythm. Someone is always awake. Someone is always watching over the ship. Someone is always preparing for whatever tomorrow may bring. You save the final navigation report. The transmission is brief. The course remains steady. All systems continue to perform within expected limits. No action is required. The report disappears into the growing archive of mission logs, thousands of small entries, each one ordinary. Together, they will become the story of humanity's first journey beyond Earth. The hatch opens quietly behind you. Your relief steps onto the bridge. You exchange a warm smile. No lengthy briefing is necessary. The ship has been kind to both of you tonight. Quiet watch, you say. The other officer smiles. The best kind. You leave the bridge. The corridor beyond is peaceful. The lights have shifted into their evening setting, and most of the crew have already returned to their duties or their quarters. Genesis has begun to find its rhythm. As you walk, you pass a small collection of photographs secured along one of the bulkheads. Families, friends, children, places that now exist only as distant memories carried aboard the ship. For a moment, you stop, not because you miss home, but because you appreciate it in a way you never could before leaving. Distance has a remarkable way of revealing what truly matters. You continue toward the observation window. No assignment requires you to be here. You simply wanted to see the stars one last time before ending your shift. Beyond the glass, Earth has become a brilliant blue jewel suspended in endless darkness. Still beautiful, still familiar, still home. Ahead, the stars stretch farther than imagination can comfortably reach. Every point of light may hold worlds of its own, worlds that have existed for billions of years, waiting patiently to be discovered. You realize something. This mission was never only about traveling farther than anyone before. It was about carrying humanity's curiosity into places it had never been able to reach. Tomorrow will bring new routines, new discoveries, new challenges. But tonight, there's only quiet. The gentle hum of Genesis, the endless silence beyond her hull, and the reassuring knowledge that somewhere behind you, an entire world is sleeping peacefully beneath the very same stars. You take one final look into the darkness, not searching for answers, simply grateful for the privilege of being here. The journey has only just begun, but for now, this is enough. Thank you for standing the watch aboard Genesis. May your own night be peaceful, and may your dreams carry you safely among the stars.